Welcome to the channel, everybody. Buckle up because today we're diving into a topic that's close to my heart: travel. Now, I love a good European adventure as much as the next guy, maybe even more, but let's be real, sometimes those cobblestone streets and charming accents can be deceiving, especially if you're a black traveler like me. Look, the world is a beautiful tapestry of cultures, but let's just say some places haven't quite figured out how to thread the needle when it comes to race relations. So, to help y'all navigate the sometimes choppy waters of international travel, we're going to take a look at the top 10 European cities that black travelers should approach with, shall we say, a healthy dose of caution. We're talking about those places where you might get a few too many side eyes or where your Airbnb host suddenly doesn't speak English when you arrive. We're going to unpack the good, the bad, and the just plain ugly. So stick around. And hey, while you're at it, hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our future travel tips and tricks. First up, we're heading to the land of gladiators, pasta, and unfortunately a fair share of, let's call it, cultural insensitivity: Rome, Italy. Now don't get me wrong, Rome is a stunning city. The history, the architecture, the food, it's all spectacular. But, and this is a big but, Italy has a bit of a complicated relationship with race. See, Italy hasn't really had to grapple with its own history of colonialism and racism in the same way that, say, France or England have, which means that sometimes they can be a little, how do I put this delicately, clueless. You might encounter people staring at you on the street or shopkeepers following you around like you're about to pull a fast one. Now, I'm not saying don't go to Rome, just go with your eyes wide open. Be prepared for some awkward encounters and maybe brush up on your Italian, because sometimes pretending you don't understand what's happening is the easiest way to deal with it. But hey, on the bright side, at least the pizza is good, right? Next stop on our European adventure, we're jetting off to the vibrant city of Barcelona, Spain. Land of flamenco dancing, delicious tapas, and unfortunately, a bit of a pickpocketing problem. And let's just say, if you're a black traveler, those pickpockets might just see you as a walking, talking ATM. Now, I'm not saying all Spanish people are out to steal your wallet, but there's a reason those little fanny packs are so popular with tourists. Especially if you're strolling down Las Ramblas, the main tourist drag, you gotta be on high alert. Keep your wits about you, your valuables close, and maybe invest in one of those money belts your dad used to wear on vacation. But look, Barcelona is an amazing city. The architecture of Gaudi, the beaches, the nightlife, it's all incredible. Just don't let your guard down too much or you might find yourself singing the "I lost my passport" blues. Oh, and one more thing. Be prepared for some interesting interactions with the police, so maybe keep your ID handy and try not to walk around with anything that could be mistaken for contraband. Alright folks, our next stop is Prague, Czech Republic, the city of 100 spires, cheap beer, and, well, let's just say the Czech Republic has some catching up to do when it comes to race relations. Now, Prague is beautiful, no doubt about it. The Charles Bridge, the astronomical clock, the medieval streets, it's like stepping back in time. But don't let the fairy tale setting fool you, because sometimes things can get real grim real quick. See, the Czech Republic is one of those places that's not exactly known for its diversity. And by that, I mean, you might be the only black person some people have ever seen in real life, which can lead to some, shall we say, interesting encounters. We're talking stares, whispers, people touching your hair without asking, the whole 9 yards. Look, I'm not saying Prague isn't worth visiting. It's a stunning city with a rich history and culture, but just know that you might have to pack a little extra patience and a whole lot of grace. And hey, who knows? Maybe you'll be the one to break down some barriers and teach the locals a thing or two about diversity. Hold on to your hats, folks, because we're about to dive into Budapest, Hungary. Home to thermal baths, stunning architecture, and, well, a government that's not exactly known for its progressive views on immigration or, diversity in general. Now, Budapest is a city of contrasts. On one hand, you've got these grand boulevards and stunning buildings that'll take your breath away. And then on the other hand, you've got a political climate that's, let's just say, a little chilly towards anyone who doesn't fit the mold. Now, I'm not saying you're going to be met with pitchforks and torches the moment you step off the plane, but just be aware that there's a certain undercurrent of, let's call it, cultural conservatism that can be a little off-putting, especially if you're used to more, shall we say, open-minded environments. You might encounter some stares, some whispers, maybe even a few muttered comments under people's breath. But look, Budapest is a beautiful city with a lot to offer. Just go in with your eyes wide open, Be prepared for some awkward encounters, and maybe brush up on your Hungarian for good measure. Get ready to channel your inner philosopher, folks, because we're heading to Athens, Greece. Birthplace of democracy, home of the Olympics, and unfortunately a place where racism, like a bad plate of moussaka, can sometimes leave a bad taste in your mouth. Now, Athens is incredible. The Acropolis, the Parthenon, the history, it's all mind-blowing. But let's just say that Greece, like many European countries, has a bit of a complex relationship with race. It's not always overt, in-your-face racism, but more like this subtle, insidious thing that can really get under your skin. You might encounter people staring at you on the street, shopkeepers following you around, or taxi drivers conveniently not having change for a €20 note. Now, I'm not trying to scare you off. Athens is an amazing city, and the vast majority of Greeks are incredibly welcoming and hospitable. But just like with any travel destination, it's important to be aware of the potential for cultural misunderstandings and, yes, even discrimination. So, go to Athens, explore the ancient ruins, stuff your face with delicious souvlaki, but just be prepared for the possibility that not everyone you encounter will be as enlightened as Socrates. Hold on to your ushankas, comrades, because we're about to enter the heart of Mother Russia, Moscow, land of vodka, borscht, and, well, let's just say that diversity isn't exactly their strong suit. Now, Moscow is a city of extremes. Opulent palaces, glittering onion domes, and a history as rich and complex as a Tolstoy novel. But it's also a place where racism, like a Siberian winter, can be harsh and unforgiving. Now, I'm not saying that every Russian you meet will be clutching their purse or crossing the street when they see you, but let's just say that Russia, like some other countries on this list, hasn't quite grasped the whole diversity is our strength memo. You might encounter people staring at you like you've just landed from Mars, or babushkas muttering under their breath about foreigners. But look, Moscow is an experience, I'll give it that. From the grandeur of Red Square to the quirky charm of its metro stations, it's a city that will stay with you long after you've left. Just, maybe pack a thick skin and a healthy dose of patience. And hey, if all else fails, there's always vodka. Next up on our European adventure, we're heading to the heart of Germany, Berlin. A city steeped in history, pulsating with nightlife, and known for its complicated relationship with race. Berlin is a fascinating mix of old and new. Remnants of the Berlin Wall stand side by side with cutting-edge art galleries. It's a city constantly evolving, but when it comes to race, they're still working on progress. You can't just erase history. Berlin is an incredible city. The art, the music, the history, it's all there. Just go in with your eyes wide open and be prepared for some potentially uncomfortable encounters. Bonjour mes amis, and welcome to the City of Lights, Paris. Land of romance, croissants, and complex realities. Paris is stunning. With the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, and the Seine, it's the stuff of postcards and dreams. But for black travelers, there's a complex reality. France often pretends racism doesn't exist. They claim to be colorblind, but it's not effective, like a chocolate teapot. France has a long, complicated history with race. So, what does that mean for you? You might encounter interesting interactions. Shopkeepers clutching their purses tighter, or taxi drivers forgetting your destination. But Paris is magical and romantic. It's everything you've dreamed of. Go in with your eyes wide open. Be prepared for awkward encounters, and remember, you are powerful and beautiful. Alright lads and lasses, get ready for a cuppa and some cheeky banter because we're off to London, England, home of Big Ben, Buckingham Palace, and a foggy relationship with race. London is a melting pot, a global city, a vibrant tapestry of cultures, from Michelin-starred restaurants to hidden speakeasies. But underneath that cosmopolitan veneer, there's a certain, shall we say, stiff upper lip. The UK, like many former colonial powers, has a tendency to sweep its past under the rug. But the legacy of colonialism and racism? Oh, it's alive and well, my friends, lurking beneath the surface like a bad case of indigestion. Now, I'm not saying you're going to be met with pitchforks and torches the moment you step off the tube. But just be prepared for some, shall we say, interesting interactions. From microaggressions disguised as banter, to subtle forms of discrimination that'll leave you scratching your head and wondering if you should laugh or cry. But look, London is an incredible city. The history, the culture, the sheer energy of the place, it's contagious. Just go in with your eyes wide open, be prepared for some potentially awkward encounters, and remember, you are brilliant, you are beautiful, and you deserve to experience all that London has to offer. Hold on to your stroopwafels, folks, because we're about to dive into Amsterdam, Netherlands. Land of canals, bicycles, and liberal vibes. But there's a flip side to that coin. The Netherlands has a history with cultural appropriation. Blackface Zwarte Piet, folks. In 2023, it's their tradition, they say. But let's be real, it's offensive. Amsterdam is amazing, though. The canals, the museums, the vibe. Just go in with your eyes wide open. And there you have it, folks, the top 10 European cities that black travelers should approach with a healthy dose of caution. Look, I know it might seem like I'm trying to scare you off traveling, but that's not my goal at all. The world is a beautiful, diverse, and fascinating place, and everyone deserves to experience it. But it's also important to be real about the challenges that black travelers might face, especially in places that haven't quite figured out this whole equality thing yet. So do your research, pack your patience, and most importantly, don't let anyone dim your shine. Remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you deserve to explore the world on your own terms. Safe travels, my friends, and I'll catch you in the next video.